So you want to learn how to wheelie. Let's go through some very simple steps and follow all the way through to show you guys how to wheelie. Let's get to it. But before we even do that, make sure you're wearing a full face helmet, guys. You don't want to hurt yourself out there. As much as it looks fun, this is also pretty dangerous and you really don't want to come off. So make sure you wear a full face helmet and you pad up and you make sure you're going to be safe. But anyway, let's carry on with the video. Let's go. So first step and most important to me, and that I think that everyone should really get used to, because when you're on an e-scooter, you don't really think of it too much, and that is actually, boom, to cover the rear brake. Now what I mean by recovering the rear brake is as simply as just putting your finger over the brake and getting ready to pull that rear brake. So what's that going to allow you to do is when you're in midair and you're at your balance point and you go too far back, once you've gone too far back, there's no way of really coming back from that. So the only way to bring it back forward is to apply your brake, and that's going to bring you forward. All right, guys, so I hope you guys can see. So pretty much covering the rear brake is just simply just putting at least one finger on. It does help to have hydraulic brakes here. So if you pull the rear brake, that's obviously going to pull from the rear, which is going to help us bring our front end down. Always cover the rear, leave one finger on the brake lever, which then brings me on to how are we going to get it up. So boom, popping up the front end is just a simple little action, and I do recommend you just jump on the scooter like so, and you pretty much just you don't want to accelerate, you just want to pop the front end up. So get used to that weight. Pretty much just want to jump on your scooter and just get used to doing that. Do it as you're at a low speed, going up onto from like, let's say a road like we are on now, and then going onto like a little footpath or something like that, just popping, but you don't want to actually maintain the wheel. You just want to get used to that front end hopping up. Do you have to get used to that popping up that front end? Because some scooters like this one here, the front end can be quite heavy. So just going along and no accelerator required, just compressing that front suspension and just popping it up can really help you out. Just like so. Next one is balance point. Finding the balance point of your e-scooter is absolutely critical to being able to control a wheelie. So first of all, the easiest way to do this is by grabbing your rear brake, pulling your scooter up, and you'll feel it wants to sit about here for a balance point. Every scooter will be different, so don't think it's always going to be the same. Now what you want to do is you want to hold your rear brake in. So once you've done that, you want to be able to stand up on the scooter and basically try and find out where it is where it doesn't really want to move. So every scooter is different and it should look like that. And that would be your scooter's balance point. Standing that up as much as possible, just get used to that feeling of being there. So once you've covered that, it'll feel a little bit more natural when you're actually moving. Another really good trick too is, guys, is make sure that you are wearing adequate safety gear while learning. And come to places like this where there's pretty much nothing happening here. There's no cars. We've obviously got that one over there, but there's no cars. We're free to go around, and probably do this with a couple of mates. So then that way you've got someone there. If something does terribly go wrong, you've got a friend there to help you out. So once you're used to getting off on a road and onto a footpath and you've covered that and it feels a lot more comfortable, you don't feel scared and stuff like that, we're then gonna now have to worry about foot placement. Boom, fourth one. So foot placement can actually make a massive difference in your scooter, and every scooter again will be different. So in this case of this scooter here that we have here, my typical riding style, I'll be sitting around about like that. Now when I want to do a wheelie, I actually want to move myself back a little bit and bring this foot here a little bit closer to the rear. It'll make sense once you've got the wheelie in progress. And then that way you can actually shift your weight around. That will actually help you steer as well as try and balance back and forth, shifting your weight both forward and backwards. And fifthly, of course, is going to be your brake and your accelerator input. Now this is going to be very crucial and will take time getting used to this part, but your acceleration and just being really gentle and smooth and not aggressive with the brake and not accelerating really hard. Like sometimes you might need it just to bring it back up, as it might be nosediving. But you can also use your weight to bring it up as well. So, and just making sure you cover that rear brake. With that rear brake, you don't want to jam it on because you're just going to slam the front end into the ground. One, it's not good for your suspension, and two, it doesn't feel good and it can possibly make you crash. So when you are on your way down, it's always good to full accelerate so that way the front end gets put down nice and smoothly. So we've covered the theory. Now let's grab those 5 things and let's start showing you guys exactly what to do and how it looks. So let's do that. And then comes the more terrifying part of grabbing all of what you've just learnt there, as well as obviously covering that rear brake. You're then going to want to start using your foot placement, like I said before. Foot placement, and then a combination of everything, and get comfortable, because you're going to have to go, you know, obviously lean a fair bit back. So these bars are going to come up quite a fair bit. Now, I always recommend doing this in small intervals. Accelerator and braking is always necessary. Only go small amounts, guys. You don't need to go straight into it, going balls to the wall and thinking you're going to do a 100-meter wheelie. Just take it easy, guys. Just enjoy learning. And you know, everyone's skills are a little bit different. So some people pick it up faster, might have a BMX background or whatnot. Some people might pick it up a little slower. So, and if you have friends that are trying to do this, obviously guys, look after them. Also, don't do this in public area, guys. Make sure you're doing this in your own backyards or somewhere like this where you're out of sight, out of mind. You're not going to hurt anyone but yourself. Now, once we've found that balance point, we can feel that, yeah, you know, the scooter's back there a little bit. You know, you're just popping that throttle up. It's about there. You want to start using that throttle and the brake. So the throttle and the brake is going to help you keep that wheelie going. So if we go now, I'll start showing you. It's a bit of a tedious work between both the brake and the accelerator at the same time. So let's have a crack at that. Hopefully you guys can see. So let's have a go. And that's pretty much what you want to do. Simple as that. I pulled the brake a little too hard then, and it did slam the front end down. Let's see if we can keep her up. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, pop up. Still going. And then yeah, just have a bit of fun, guys, and you know, throw your weight around. Ooh, that was a bit of a bad one. And another one too, guys, if you are going to put the front end down or if it's coming down, make sure the steering is straight. You want it to be straight, not turnt, because it'll just flick you off and you'll eat it. So always make sure that wheel is straight when you land, no matter how awkward it feels, otherwise you will end up hurting yourself. So I hope that helped you guys be able to wheelie your e-scooter. Now, make sure you do the right thing by everyone and do it at your own discretion with no one around. And by all means, guys, make sure you wear a full face helmet, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.